Well, there is a great deal more in the Bible about political truth than most people recognize. Much of it is in the Old Testament, but since the modern evangelical ethos tends to oppose the abiding authority of the Old Testament, they don't recognize the political implications and the political standards that the Old Testament sets forth. I realize the Bible does not speak specifically to every conceivable political issue, but it speaks to many more issues, directly or by implication, than most modern evangelicals and the modern church in general would permit. We do certainly believe in the ethical precepts of the law, but it is not our responsibility to do away even with the case laws. In other words, we may not understand how to apply all of the law. We could bring up specific laws about sowing a field with diverse seeds, for example, and may not understand the historical background that would help us to understand why the law was set forth in the first place. But the point is, we have to take all of the law of God seriously. And therefore, it's not ours to play picky-choosy and say, I like this law, for instance, against homosexuality or stealing, but I don't like this law governing marital intercourse, for example. We have to abide by the law of God when it is established, even if we don't understand it well. We need to work hard on the task of exegesis, understanding the law of God. But when we do come to an understanding, we need to abide by it. It is not our responsibility to select certain portions of the law of God that we like. I realize that in late 20th century America we have certain tender sensibilities about how abortionists or homosexuals should be treated. We live according to a rights theory of life rather than a responsibility view of life. So there are some of God's laws that do, especially on first reading, seem harsh and difficult. The question we have to ask is, are we going to conform our ideas and our practice to the law of God? Are on the other hand, we going to permit the modern culture to dictate to us our ethical values, to use the modern expression? No, even though there are some difficulties in the law of God and difficulties in enforcing the law of God, if we're going to say we believe the Bible, if we're going to say we believe in sola scriptura, then we have to say that the law of God must prevail in society, even in the parts that we consider difficult.